First, let's take a look at what supplies we'll need. In the design phase, we'll need a piece of paper. We'll need a pencil. And we'll need templates, circle templates. These are going to help us draw out our coins. Now keep in mind, you can do coins of different shapes. So you can have squares, triangles, experimenting with different things. If you're looking at the Dungeon Master's Guide, it gives you an example of some different types of coins. There's some interesting shapes in there that you can follow as well. For simplicity purpose, I'm going to stick with the circle templates. We're also going to need carvable rubber. This you can get at craft supply stores and also on the internet. This is Speedy Carve by, I believe it's by Easy Ball. I'm not sure exactly what or Speedball, yes, Rapid Carve or Easy Carve. It's just like a giant rubber eraser, but we're going to use this to make 2 halves of our coin mold that we're going to use the clay. We're also going to need this tool here. It's a Linoleum Cutter. So in the handle there are different bits that you can use to carve with. We're going to get into that. So you're going to need one of those. And you're also going to need a stamp pad. Okay? So this is what we're going to need for the design phase of our coin making. Look at some of the other tools we're going to need. We're going to need polymer clay. There's different kinds of polymer clay that you can use. This here is Super Sculpey, and there's also Super Sculpey Firm. We're going to be using primarily Super Sculpey today, just because I have some I want to get rid of. It's an older clay and it's light color, so it'll be a little bit easier to paint on. So I'm going to be using Super Sculpey today instead of the Super Sculpey Firm. What else we're going to need is an acrylic clay roller. Okay, you can use this to roll out your clay. We want an even sheet, so that when we do our stamping, our coin stamping, that our coins are relatively the same size. If you don't have one of those, or if you have at least have one of these, or something to flatten the clay with. Additionally, if you have a clay machine, you can also use a clay machine as well. That will help you roll out the putty, the clay, into an even thickness, in a consistent thickness that you can use too. Additional things that we'll need when we're making our coins are going to be, after that, once it's cut and it's baked, then it comes to painting. In order to achieve the types of finishes that you saw here, we're going to try different things. So we're going to need different types of paints. And there's also powders you can use as well. So we're going to need some pearlizing powder that you can get also at the craft store. We're also can use metallic paints. So here we have a gold metallic paint. This one is a copper metallic paint. This one is like a pearly color that maybe we can use with gray also to make like a color that's like platinum. I have a silver paint. And also what I'm going to show you today is this really interesting gold wax that you paint on, you brush on your coins. It gives us a really nice shine. So we're going to be using that today as well. And since coins are being held constantly and they're going to be manipulated by you and your players, you want to protect them, you can also get a clear sealant that you paint on to your coins to keep them protected from hands, sweat, other things. In addition to using these, you're also going to need paint brushes to apply, and also occasionally you might need a hobby knife. So a sharp hobby knife is another thing that you'll need. So without further ado, let's get started making some campaign coins. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Easy Carve rubber and we're going to carve basically rubber dies out of them, just like they would do, just like they would stamp coins, hammer strike them, and use a harder metal to imprint a pattern onto a softer metal, what we're going to do is we're going to use the rubber die to stamp the clay coins. So we're going to make a thing of clay, and then we're going to put it in between the two molds that we have, and we're going to apply some pressure. And what that's going to do is that's going to create the impressions that we have that are shown on the coin here. So this was a finished copy that I did before, and what I'm going to make today is I'm going to make a 10 gold piece coin. So this is my one gold piece coin, and you can tell that there's the 1 here, and then there's a castle and a moon on the back. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is whatever you want to be raised. Okay, so I wanted this castle design to be raised above the coin surface. It's going to need to be indented in the die. That way when you push the clay in, it fills in that gap, and it creates the raised surface. Also, whatever you decide to draw on your die needs to be reversed of what you want it to actually come out looking like. So when I cut the 1, I had to make it reverse backwards, because when you stamp it in, you get the mirror image. So that's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind when you're designing your coin. Which is very good to have a piece of paper for you to sketch it out. What I'm probably going to do, though, instead of sketching it out on the paper, I'm just going to go sketch it onto the rubber and start carving. So here I have the 1 1/8 template, which I'm going to do. It's the same size as my 1 gold piece coin. Now I can make my 10 gold piece coin a little bit larger, but what I'm thinking instead is keeping them the same and just making the front part here different. So I might actually still use this this castle design for all my gold pieces, and instead just change the number and change the denomination, and I might add more of a design to the front as well. So I'm going to do a few tests here. I'm just going to trace a few of these 1 1/8 circles, just to get a feel of maybe a design sense that I want to go with. I'm going to draw a few of them out and see where I want to take this coin. So I'm thinking, I'll probably have, a band here that goes around, so it gives myself a little bit of a border. Again, I can use the circle templates, but I'm just doing a rough for myself. Just kind of giving myself an idea. So if I want to do another denomination besides 1, let's say I wanted to do 10, I can do, let's see, so it's going to be backwards, so then the 0 would have to be here, right? And the 1 would have to be here. Now, of course, I can also use a ruler to lay it out, to make it lined up. Maybe I could even do a design where it's like these sprigs here. I could do something like this design. Maybe I will do something like that. Now, if I want to have them elevated, have these raised relief, I'd have to carve these out. So I need to carve this out, and usually I just shade it in. If I need it carved out, I'll shade it in. So I'm thinking that might be a good idea for a 10 gold piece. I'm going to go with just 10 in the middle with this here, with the weeds, whatever you call those. They're not oak leaves, whatever they are. So let's get to drawing. We're going to transfer this over now to our rubber block. Next we're going to take bits of our clay, our Sculpey, and we're going to use our roller, and we're going to roll it out and condition it. Now this is some old clay, so it could use a lot of conditioning. And again, you can use a pasta machine. If you have a clay pasta machine, you can use that too. That is a little too thick. Let's see. That thickness, still a little too thick for my liking. I roll it out a little bit more. And then I'm just going to cut off a little bit here. Just to demonstrate. Okay, so now I have a nice piece of clay here, and I'm going to take my my backing piece. We're going to put it down, and I'm going to take my front piece, my tin, and I'm going to put it over the top. And I can cut these the same size. But if I was a little bit more prepared, I would have cut them the same size like I did with these ones. I also have like little registration marks on the back, so I know how to line them up exactly the way I want them to. But for my purposes, I think this will be okay. I'm just gonna hopefully they'll line up somewhat, and then what we're gonna do is after they're lined up, okay, we're gonna take our roller again. And then we're just going to add pressure, okay? So we're going to press down, and roll forward and backward a little bit. I'm going to turn it, roll forward and backward a little bit. So what's going on is the clay is filling up those voids that we carved out. Now, if we carefully remove, what you'll see is we have the 10 imprinted in this side, and then we peel it off slowly and carefully. You'll see the other design in the back as well. So we have two sides of our same coin, and then very carefully we're just going to use our scalpel tool to cut out the coin. Boom. Okay, so I was a little off, and they have like this mark here where here's the edge of the coin, and it's almost like it was like a, you know, an overstrike. So I'll have to figure out a way to align it for myself. But so now I have the design on this side, a design on the other side, and I'm going to roll out a few more, cut out a few more, and then we're going to bake them, and then we'll come back to paint. So, but as you can tell, before baking, they're very squishy and pliable, and that's not good. We don't want them to be squishy and pliable. So follow the directions on your particular brand of clay. I bake mine in the oven for, I believe it's 275 or 250 for a few minutes, and after 10 to 15 minutes, these become rock solid. They become as solid as this. So this versus a wet pancake. So I'm going to take some time, I'm going to roll it up, and I will see you back after I have baked a few of these coins. Now the coins have finished baking in the oven. So now they are very rigid. They came out pretty well, I like it. if you want to sand them, you can sand them on the sides a little bit to make them a little bit more round. If you want to take some sanding paper to the edges, or even I believe you could just use your hobby knife, cut that off. I like it the way it is. So what I'm going to do now is the most gratifying part is we're going to paint them. And for that, we're going to need our different paints. So we have some silver. We can use some silver. We have metallic gold. We have a copper color. And we have another silver color. But what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using this this gold wax paste. And you'll see in a minute how that looks. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just right on this paper plate, I'm going to apply this gold paint. So I'm going to use this gold wax paint. And I'm wearing gloves because you'll see in a little bit how thick this stuff can be and how much it stains. So just, this is where the magic happens. Take a little bit on your brush. Get a little bit on my brush here. And I'm just going to start filling in. And already you can tell, look at that. Already you can tell it looks like a gold coin. I'm just using the bristles of the brush to kind of push that wax all around the contours. Just make sure that everything gets covered. And just like that, I mean, it works magically. It's almost amazing to watch how shiny that these coins can get. And to think that these are made out of clay, not even metal. I think I need a little bit more on my brush. Like your coins have seen a little bit more wear and tear, you certainly can. You can go back over and do a black wash. I personally like them shiny, and I think that they're it's more rewarding to hand out shiny coins, especially after defeating a red dragon or any type of monster in the dungeon. Having a nice shiny coin looking at you is a lot more rewarding, I think. So I'm just going to go through, I'm going to cover the rest of these, and when they dry I'm going to flip them over, and there we have it. We have our complete campaign coin. So instead of spending $40 or $50 buying a set of campaign coins, you can make your own. It does take a little bit of time, effort. There's a little bit of material cost, but I think overall, you get to customize your coins in the way they look, and you don't even have to stop here. For other things that you can do custom holy symbols for your clerics. You can do inspiration tokens if you wanted to give those out to your players. And in the future, you could even possibly use this technique to do lost wax casting. So it's possible in the future that we might use this technique to stamp wax and then melt them out with pewter or something. So once you have these dies made, you can definitely use them for all sorts of projects. And you can also extend this past gold. So if you don't want gold coins, if you wanted to, let's say, make silver coins, you do the same thing, and all you have to do is paint with silver, or experiment with different colored clays as well. Copper piece, or this one is a platinum piece. So what I did with this one is I did a base coat of white, and then I used that pearl color to kind of go over it. And I also experimented with coating with this clear sealer, because if these coins get handled a lot, then it's good to have it sealed and protected. One thing I did notice is that it kind of made this, like, it's supposed to dry clear, but it made this a little bit of a fog to it. So I don't think I'm going to seal these coins. I'm just going to paint them gold and keep them that way. But yeah, I'm really happy with the product. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, comment, subscribe to this channel, and hopefully I can have more videos for you in the future.